What's going on, Facebook? What's up, YouTubes and Twitter and volunteerroadshow.com? That's right. We're back. Got the inventor of the Icky Shuffle and the 7-game parlay winning ticket. That's right. It's me, Bobby C., a.k.a. Catfish, and just so happened to have a national champion, SEC champion, and probably state champion in high school. Was you state champion, Billy?
Most definitely, man. Hey,
and a state champion, Billy Big Worm Ratliff. How you doing? It's been a couple of weeks since we've done a show. We're going to do a call-in show again because the last call-in show was off the chain. But how you been doing?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, man. Just cooped up in this house. Other than that, I'm doing good.
Well, that's good. Lots happened since we did our last show.
Man,
we hired a coach.
Fired a coach, and we here again.
So tell me, before you tell me how you really feel, because I want to know how you really feel. We've talked a little bit about it, but we hadn't talked a lot about it. Mainly because we've just wanted to let it sink in a minute. I think it's finally sunk into most Tennessee fans, who our coach is. But before we do that, we got to give shout outs to the people that make it possible for us to cover UT athletics, make it possible for me to beat Billy in darts and the Bobby versus Billy videos, makes it possible for me to beat Billy in horse like I did, and y'all can go check those videos out. It makes it possible. What else have I beat you in, Billy?
That would be the end of it. The end of the road. Now.
Oh, that's right. You got me in quarter pitching, and you got me in cornhole. What are we doing next?
I don't know. I think you wanted me to bull rush you.
No, I still got some training to do. I've been doing the beach body stuff, the drinks. I know you're laughing. Don't laugh.
Well, I've been doing the CB diet.
Well, here, I'm going to tell you what the best diet in the world is. I'm going to tell you which one it is. It's the one you can stick to.
And that's the country boy diet.
Well, anybody can stick to that one. Does that include biscuit and gravy?
Every now and then.
I wish I was on that diet. You can eat biscuit and gravy on that diet for real?
Hey, I get to do whatever I want on Sundays.
Well, anyway, while we're going to give some shout outs, don't forget, you can call us tonight. We want to hear how you feel. Billy, give them the number.
What is the number?
Oh, come on. You're supposed to be remembering all these numbers. It's on the screen if you forget. 865-424-1342. That's the Blue Water Climate Control hotline. We got a hotline now.
I mean, what do the hotline? Is the hotline hot yet?
I don't know. I hadn't checked it yet. But anyway, let's give Blue Water, who's been good to us, been good to a lot of media outlets that cover the Vols. They've got a free furnace going on, and I think they still have them, but they were only going to do 20 of them. So if you have a 100-year-old heating and air unit and ridiculous electric bill, Blue Water Climate Control is giving away 20 furnaces or air handlers with complete system installs. Now is the time to get a new heating and air unit. Customers have saved as much as $1,000. That's $1,000. That's a G. That's how much I'm going to win on the Super Bowl with my betting, Billy. To get the offer, all you need to do is call 865-299-2290 or go to bluewaterclimatecontrol.com to book online. They'll come give you a quote on your new American Standard heating and air system. They're only giving away 20 during February only, so you better hurry. Better hurry, Billy. And Blue Water's been good to us. They came out and fixed the air in the studios and the whole house. They cleaned the duct work. And they were very professional and very courteous, and they knew what they was doing. But that's out of the way, and we really do appreciate Jeremy, veteran, Navy veteran, was on the USS Tennessee, locally owned business, and we need to be helping our local businesses out. So, all right, now that we've got our paid the rent, and we're going to help people pay the rent on their rent on the football pick-ems tonight on our pickles. I've got some locks. I think I'm gonna. I've did some of those. What do you call them? What do you call them? Prop bets. I've got some winners there. Don't be laughing. Don't be laughing. I'm telling you, you're gonna fall out of your chair when you hear this one.
Do not trust them guys. Please don't. Please don't.
Come on, Billy. Tell him I got a 7-game parlay this year. How many did you have?
I got plenty of them. I just haven't showed them.
Oh, yeah. All right. I want to know what Billy Ratliff thinks about the coach, and then we're going to give shout-outs over here on YouTubes and Facebook. Tell me how you feel, Billy.
Well, I mean, I like the hire. I mean, it's what I wanted as far as an offensive-minded head coach to come in, not just change the culture, but get to know the players. And that's what he's doing first and foremost. He's getting used to the kids. And as you notice that he hadn't really even discussed who his coaching staff is going to be because he's still working on the kids. That's the one part of this whole recipe that no one has talked about is the kids. And he's doing what I said, what Al Wilson said when what about the kids? If the kids ain't getting what they need to be successful, no one will be successful without the kids. And I even saw it where, the coaches, they play dodgeball. And that's a good thing. I mean, they're starting to get used to each other. He told the kids that this is the beginning of what I want this culture to be like. Hang out with each other, play with each other. And I like that he's being quiet about what's going on in the house. He's giving them what they want them to hear as far as, we're doing some team-oriented things. And I like that he's doing that right now. He's keeping a lot of things to himself, and he's building his house the way he wants to be built. And that's what you need. You need a coach that's don't worry about the outside and worry about what's inside.
I hear you. I don't know what I thought when I first heard the news. Well, I do know what I thought. It had nothing to do with how I felt about him as a coach. The first thing I thought is, oh my gosh, Vol Nation is going to have a coronary infarction. They're going to have a heart attack because it's not Hugh Freeze and it's not Lane Kiffin. Which I don't know why we were so stuck on them. I'm not saying they wouldn't have been great coaches. I think they would have. But first of all, Lane's not coming back. You can forget that. And number two, maybe in any other circumstance, Hugh Freeze might have a chance to be hired. But you don't hire somebody that got in trouble with recruiting violations a week after you fired a coach for having recruiting violations. That's the one that I didn't get. I believe in second chances, but there's only certain places you give second chances to. I mean, you don't give an alcoholic a job at the liquor store just after they're hitting recovery. Maybe years down the road, you can give them a chance doing that. But it just wasn't a good look. Those are my thoughts. That's not me saying Lane Kiffin wouldn't have been successful. That's not saying Hugh Freeze wouldn't have been successful if we would have hired him, but it just wasn't going to happen. And there's a lot of fans out there that are upset because they acted like we didn't even try. Now I'm going to go ahead and say something because I've gotten to know a lot of your former teammates personally just by being your partner. I've gotten to know a lot of them. I know how they feel, and I felt the same way about T not getting a chance. Of course, maybe we know if he had a chance or not. I think Josh Heupel went with the safe choice. But I heard that Peerless said that he talked to T, and T was hurt. His feelings was hurt that they didn't even give him a call. So, and I've seen a lot of Facebook posts by your former teammates that were, You know, like they should have given him a chance. So how do you feel about it? You want to say anything about that?
Well, the chance that I think that a lot of us, me personally, I'm gonna just say me personally, and I'm not worrying about what my teammates thought. The chance that I'm saying is the fact that he had the title assistant head coach, and the fact they brought in Kevin Steele and gave him interim head coach when he's the assistant head coach. Typically, that's who step in and become interim. That was the first slap in the face that me personally I was talking about. The second one was when they asked all these coaches to take pay cuts. He was one of those coaches. You brought in a coach, Kevin Steele, 2.5 weeks, and how much you're going to pay him if they don't retain him? $1 million.
Yeah, I heard it was almost $1 million he got paid just to have a business card made up with interim head coach on it, because that's basically all he did.
And T and J, I want to say their contracts together wasn't even $1 million. So that's another slap in the face. Those are the situations and issues that a lot of the guys had a problem with. That's the problem. So I am not saying that, yes, T would have taken the job if they would offer him the job. That's what people don't understand, that he wasn't offered a job. I know that everybody said that he's not ready. He don't have the experience. But there's not a head coach that ever had experience when they became a head coach. And there's never a job that's too big for you if you don't ever get the experience. I don't care what career you're in. The problem with that is, and I hate to say it, and the problem that everybody is, the situation that Hainsworth came up with is the situation that everybody was peed off about because he didn't get that opportunity because of that situation. Time in and time out is that reason. Because they did not hesitate to give Kevin Steele $1 million. But the job is not too big for Kevin Steele.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Just think of that. And that's the problem that a lot of my teammates had, and I had. And that's just it. I mean, I just wish it was different. I wish everybody had the same opportunities when it came to employment or whatever. But we still have a long way to go to be what we call created equal in every situation. And that's what I feel.
Well, I tell you what ticks me off is they paid him nearly $1 million to do nothing. That's taxpayers' money. Ultimately, that's the people of Tennessee paid him $1 million basically to have interim head coach. I bet you they didn't even have head coach put on any business cards for him. And he got $1 million for coming up to Tennessee. Probably didn't even move here. He probably stayed at the Hilton in downtown and get left back to Alabama or wherever he's living. And that's what aggravated me the most. That's such a waste of money. I mean, we're asking for coaches to take pay cuts, and we're giving somebody $1 million to be interim head coach for a week. Do you know what that works out to? Nearly $52 million a year. Yeah. If you figure it out for a week.
Yeah. That's why they got to get rid of that buy-in, that buyout stuff. That's the only way they're going to get that stuff to be equal, because that's these coaches knowing that they got a backup plan with these buyouts. Hey, fire me.
I'd have rather have given T. Martin and Jay Graham and the assistant coaches, some sort of money for putting up with all this stuff than give it to somebody. And I realize that, he could have had the job, and there was a lot of politics going in, but I didn't like that. And I'm going to go ahead and give you my 2 cents, and we'll give some shout outs here on Facebook and YouTube. And we want to hear from you. Most important thing Billy and I want is to hear what you think. It don't matter what we think. We want to hear what you think. And you can call us at 865-424-1342, and you can hear the show while you're on hold, so don't worry about that. We got 3 or 4 lines open. But I was, and I've told you this privately, and I even think I've said this publicly. I don't know, but I know I've told you I didn't want T to have the job. Not because I didn't think he could do it. I didn't want it for T, because I felt like that was putting him in a no-win situation. I don't know if I'm right about that, but man, that would have been a tough place to put somebody. We should have hired T out the gate and never hired Jeremy Pruitt is what we should have done. And I wouldn't have had a problem with that. But him coming in and having to clean up sanctions, having to deal with sanctions, bowl bans, scholarship bans. I'm sure we're going to have these things. There's no way around it. We're going to be cut down on scholarships, and that's just going to make it harder for him. But knowing T, he probably wouldn't even care about that. It looks like something happened with our Zoom call. What happened? Let me make this get this connected back up here again anyway.
What you do, the stream, just the video is off.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix it here. But anyway, that's just some of the things that bothered me about it. It should come back up here in a minute. It was our call-in studio thing.
Somebody said that YouTube is not streaming.
YouTube is not streaming. It was streaming. It shows it's streaming right now. I don't know why this thing ain't. I guess we're not going to be able to take calls for some reason. Well, let's fix this, Billy, so people can see us.
Oh, the call dropped in. That's what it was.
Yeah, the call dropped. I don't know why our call-in studio dropped, but we'll get it fixed here. I'm going to fix the screen up. It's just too much to have to get that all back going again, so we're just going to just go solo right here. But anyway, that's just some of the problems that I've had. There wasn't going to be a hire that our fan base would have really liked. But what I am happy to see, I'm happy to see more people than I thought would get behind this Josh Heupel.
Have successfully.
It looks like we have successfully. Yeah, we got our call-in studio back up now. I've got to
studio web interface.
Resize everything, Billy. Anyway, I want to do this because I really want to hear from everybody. We've got a lot of people that I think are supporting him, and we've got fans that are going to support no matter who we hire, and because we've got some good fans. Now we got some pretty bad fans too, but for the most part, we have pretty good fans. Go ahead and give some shout outs on Facebook, and I'll give it over here on YouTube.
All right, let's see who we got over here. Let's see. Troy Cochran, he said he has to hire a good DC. Yeah, I mean, DC is not going to, me personally, I don't think the DC is going to be that hard to find. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are out there. Defense is not as hard to fix as offense. But yes, I would like to have a great defensive coordinator as well. Let's see here. Mark Taylor, he said, saw that they have talked to Mark House, the LB coach at KC, as our new DC. Okay, well, I've heard that. Trevor said Diamond Stewart beat both of y'all in Kono. Now that wasn't me. The kids beat Diamond.
Yeah, that's true.
Jenny Vane over here. She said, "Hey, she said, I think we need to give Josh a chance. I do too."
I like Jenny. She's probably one of our most loyal Tennessee fans there is. Lives down
Yes.
there in Florida, but she's always in over here, and she's smart too. She knows her football,
Oh, yes, she does. Like
knows it well.
I've when she in some of the volunteer groups, and she be going in on a lot of them over there too. I'm like, man, they tough. I mean, she don't back down from nobody.
That's what I
And
like.
Preston Hess, he said Billy's diet is oatmeal cream pies. He said, laughed out loud. I mean, Bobby's.
Who said what? Now hold on a second. What did they say about oatmeal cream pies? Somebody making fun of me?
Man, he said when we was talking about what diets we were doing, and of course I told him mine. He said, "Well, Billy's diet is oatmeal cream pies." He said, "I mean Bobby's."
Yeah. That's what I'm going to put behind me when we do that one-on-one blocking, because you won't be able to get by me. No, I've been on this beach body stuff, and see, I ain't ever been big on that kind of stuff. And I don't get paid anything from Beachbody, but I'm going to tell y'all something. Like I said, the best diet in the world is one you stick to, but they've got a strawberry, what do you call that thing, Billy, in the bag? You've seen it. The strawberry thing.
You talking about the street stuff?
The shake, the protein shake. I'm gonna tell you something, man. I don't feel like eating anything for hours after I have that. I mean, I could go all day and not even feel hungry. That's the first time I've ever had one of those things where I didn't feel hungry. But go ahead and finish Facebook. We're going to take this caller, and then I'll give some shout outs on YouTube.
I see. Robin Corby said Lang and Hugh had too much baggage. I'm with you on that. Too much baggage. You're right about that. Chip Garrick, no one is going to get another chance because Josh Heupel will get it. I hope he does get it done. And saying Robin also said when they got Jeremy Pruitt, did they offer T. Martin the job back then? No.
No.
No. Let's see. And Alan Gilreath said, why would they hire him for 2 weeks and pay him that much? I'm going to say it.
Because they're ignorant.
Crazy. All of the above.
Jeez.
Let's see. Mark Taylor said this would have tarnished T's legacy. I'm going to answer that one, though, because a lot of people have said that. At first, I thought about that same situation, that it would tarnish it, but I don't think it would have. I mean, I said he wouldn't have. I don't want him to take it when we in the water or the hot water, but he would have been the only coach that still knew all these kids, and he know what these kids want. They talk to T. They know it. He knows what they need, and I think, me personally, I think he would have brought it back to life. You know, that's one thing that assistant coaches can't do. All that is bring everybody back together the way the head coach can. The head coach is the glue. He's the one that's supposed to stick everybody and make everybody happy, and also make them do their jobs right. That's what the head coach is supposed to do. The head coach is supposed to be the biggest motivator of the whole team. And if you can't do that, you won't be successful. And I think T. Martin would have been able to do that.
I want to know about his boy being at Catholic. Is he going to stay there at Catholic?
I would say so. Because
remember when we seen his boy pumping gas and T was sitting in the car? You could spot one of your boys from 10 miles away. I'm like, what do you mean there's T? You said, there's T. We're riding down the car down Cedar Bluff. You said, there's T. I'm like, what? I'm looking around, and there he was pumping gas at the Pilot. Remember that? It sure was.
I see you. I know you.
But his boy was pretty tall. I think he's going to be a good player. So I was just wondering about, is he going to keep his kids here in Knoxville to finish out their high school, or is he going to move them, or what? But anyway, that's just something to come to my mind. But let's go to the phone lines. Let's see here. I'm going to open it up. Oh, we were just talking good about this person. Jenny, how you doing? What you got for Catfish and Billy Ratliff?
I was just wanting to know. I just was wanting to say, I think everybody should get behind this with Josh. I I wasn't too excited about him at first, but I'm not excited about. I wouldn't have been excited about anybody because this is like our fifth head coach, not including the interns we've had. It's just, but we should all get behind him and stop just criticizing everything and trying to get the perfect coach, because there are no perfect coaches. And what Billy said is gospel. We do not have to have somebody who has head coaching experience, because they all had to have somebody to give them a chance to begin with, because none of them were head coaches before they became head coaches.
Agreed.
I don't understand this whole gripe that he has to have head coaching experience. Lane Kiffin had head coaching experience, so did Dooley, so did Butch, and look how that turned out.
Yeah. Anyway, sounds like we got a little something playing in the background, but yeah, we were just saying something good about you, how you're always following us over here and you really know your football. So I don't know if you got to hear that or not, but
yeah, I did. Thank you. It's because my dad was a huge Tennessee fan. I went to Tennessee.
Oh, I remember
in the
that.
Early
Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah.
I was a Tennessee fan before I went to Tennessee. My dad was a huge Tennessee fan. He went to Tennessee as well, but he became a Tennessee fan actually in high school in the 60s. He started listening to John Ward on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
He said he just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And we're from Memphis, so I wondered. I was like, how did you become a Tennessee fan? And he's like, I just turned on the radio one day and listened to John Ward, and he said he fell in love with it.
Yeah, it's almost like a different state over there in Memphis. It's almost like it's not really Tennessee, but it is, but it isn't. And anyway.
But a lot of the students are from Memphis.
Yeah.
Are from the Memphis area, from West Tennessee, from West Tennessee and Memphis area. There's a lot of students from there.
Yep. Cedric Wilson, he's from Memphis. I think he's coaching over there.
He went to Melrose.
I think he's coaching at Melrose now, isn't he, Billy? Have you heard from Cedric yet lately?
Yeah, I think he's
still out there, still coaching.
Yeah. So what did you think about Kevin Steele getting that nearly $1 million just to be interim head coach for a week?
I think that's crazy. I don't understand what the point of that was. Was he really going to be over here to be our DC or what? I didn't understand that whole thing.
Was that, I think it was $950,000. And coincidentally enough, that's the same exact amount that we paid Georgia State to kick her butt, which was the worst money spent. To have Georgia State kick her butt for $950,000, or Kevin Steele be our interim coach for $950,000.
I think they're about even. I just think with the Georgia State thing is that they thought that if they just came out on the field, they were going to win, and that's not how football works.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's how it felt like when they were like, "Oh, we're just gonna win because we're Tennessee and who's Georgia State," and they sure showed us.
Yeah, they did show us. So you've got a pretty bright outlook. You're giving him a chance. You think he's going to be a good coach, or are you just giving him a chance and waiting and see? How do you think about the hire of itself?
I think he's going to be a good coach. I know people are saying that he took Scott Frost's team and made him, and they're in a decline. But his first two seasons, they were really good. I don't count COVID season because he probably didn't have a lot of players sat out. Some players, you just don't know what was going on. They gave the kids the option to play. They didn't have to play if they didn't want to. So we don't know that situation. We don't know how many times how many kids had to go into quarantine. I mean, I'm not going to go by the record of his last season at UCF. But the people here, I live in Orlando, so the people here liked him. So I don't know where people were getting their information about how the UCF fans were so happy he came to Tennessee. No, I don't think that's because I have a lot of friends who are UCF fans, and that's not how any of them felt.
Now tell me this, Jenny. You're down there, so you probably will know better than either one of us. What I've heard some people say, I guess there was a tweet by a player maybe that said he didn't even say goodbye. Have you heard anything about that?
No, I didn't hear about that
They
at
were
all.
kind of upset that he didn't even come tell the players goodbye. Huh.
Oh wow!
There was an article about it.
And like I said, I have friends who went to UCF, and they didn't say anything about that. But I haven't. So I don't know because Bobby, you're friends with me on Facebook. I don't think you heard. I have COVID.
Oh, I hadn't heard. So I haven't been on Facebook in a week.
Yeah, I've been quarantined,
so
no. I haven't actually spoken to any of my friends in a long time. So I'm fine though.
Are you feeling better?
I'm feeling a lot better.
Well, good. Glad to hear it.
A lot better.
Well, anyway,
yeah, I'm all about people giving coaches a chance. I'm not going to until they are at least established in their seasons. I'm not on this bandwagon of firing somebody before they're hired and all that stuff. I understood the whole thing with Schiano. I wasn't on board with that just because of things. However, I don't think I would have protested like a lot of our fans did for that. But
I just didn't like the optics of it.
I understand why people didn't want it.
Yeah.
Oh, the optics were horrible.
Yeah.
Like, I have friends who are like Alabama fans and Georgia fans, and they were just like, "Y'all, your fans are crazy." I was like,
Yeah.
So they're just passionate. They're a very passionate fan base. I tried to keep that in mind but in that one group I'm in, I sometimes I feel like I should leave it because they're just horrible. And when you start attacking players, and when I was a student, that's another thing. I would hear people booing. They're like, "We're booing the coaches." I was like, these guys on the field do not know that you're booing the coaches. They think that you're booing them.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. Hey, Billy, remind me tomorrow or Monday. I forgot to get Jenny her mask. Remind me to get you her address so you can ship it out to her. Can you remind me to do that?
Gotcha.
All right, Jenny. We appreciate it. We appreciate you being loyal to the Volunteer Roadshow. And
of course.
Thanks for watching.
Go Vols. Go Vols.
Go Vols.
Get better now, lady.
Well, before we get this next caller, I'm going to give some shout-outs over here on YouTube's Henry Riddle, who's always watching us. He said, "Go Vols. I'm so happy I caught y'all tonight." Matt Dummett says, "What's up, Catfish and Billy?" Slim Mosley said, "Go Dogs." I didn't say go Dogs. Slim Mosley said, "Go Dogs." Justin Sanday from Oklahoma said, "What's up, Catfish and Billy?" Slim Mosley said, "Lane, ? Maybe, freeze, ? Why?" Henry Riddle thinks that Heupel's better than Kiffin and Freeze. He also says the reason they gave it to Steele is because there is an ongoing investigation. David Bass, or I guess that's how you say it, "Billy, you the man, never forgot the fumble recovery. Respect your opinion and agree with the slap in the face. It's a problem." Hey, every time somebody mentions that, I got to play it, Billy. I'm sorry. We got to play it.
Remaining, one timeout left. Call it 12.
Got it on the mixer board.
Sterner lost the football. Oh my goodness! He stumbled and fumbled, and Billy Ratliff recovered.
Had to put that in there. That's always going to be on the call board. Thanks, Dave. Billy's too humble of a guy to pat himself on the back. Although he does run his mouth about cornhole and all this other stuff, but that he's the most humble man I've ever known. Anyway, let's see. D4 Sports. Okie Brave says, "You got the best coach in Josh Heupel other than Nick Saban. Trust me. I know him." That's what Okie Brave says. I don't know about that, Okie. You've always been good to us and watched us over here. But I don't know if he's the best thing since Nick Saban. But we'll see. I hope you're right. Man, would that not be nice if you were right? Henry Riddle says, I always loved T. Martin, but his track record coaching isn't the best. Did y'all see our passing game? BA, I feel bad for T. I wish he could have been retained in some capacity. Space Mountain, he said something about Gators suck or something over there. I don't know. He's a Gator fan, so I had to put that in there. Henry Riddle says one of the greatest plays in Tennessee history. So let's go to the phone calls. 865-424-1342. What you got? Is this Marcus? What you got for Billy Ratliff and Catfish?
Hey, guys. Shout out from Chattanooga. Enjoy listening to you guys.
Appreciate that.
I'm a native Tennessean and really liked hearing that we want to lock down the state. But what's your take on some of these offers that have been at the last minute pulled back in?
I think it's a new coaching regime and what he wants to build, maybe. I don't know. I don't know a lot of the behind the scenes. What do you think, Billy? Have you heard any more about it?
Well, I mean, I think the one that everybody's talking about, forget the school the kid went to, but it's up to the kid too, though. I mean, if the kid don't do the job to get the scholarship for us making the grades or the results, I mean, you can't offer the kid a scholarship. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, his coach, the kid knew it before the situation. I understand that, but they also had to understand that this is a whole new coaching staff. I get that. What everybody think that's a bad look for Tennessee or whatever. It's not. It's a bad look for what his high school coach said about Tennessee and for the future kids that are at his high school. He said that he would never let any of his kids come to Tennessee. He would not let any coach on the campus of that high school ever again.
Really?
Now, the problem with that situation, what if Tennessee's the only school that recruiting that kid? Do you not let that kid come to Tennessee because of your ego that happened last year? That is what I'm trying to say. If these kids, and I'm going to say this here, these kids got to stop committing to one school. They got to stop committing. Leave your commitment open until signing day. Make these coaches still come court you. Don't give them everything. Let them court you.
I agree.
To all of your,
Amen.
You go to all of your visits and all those things. But no, I understand the situation because it's a bad situation for the kid if the kid didn't do his. I mean, you gotta keep it open to all these other schools as well in case that situation happened, because a lot of the coaches and a lot of these colleges are over recruiting the amount of scholarships that they have, and it sucks.
You were saying something,
Amen.
caller? Go ahead.
No, I agree with Billy. I think you got to leave you need to leave that commitment to the last minute. With as many coaching changes that happen, I'm a diehard Tennessee fan. I'm 55. I'll be buried in orange, and I support the new hire. But I was just a little concerned with that high school coach and what he was saying. He wasn't going to let any Tennessee coach come on campus, and I hope he'll reconsider that.
He's going to have to, because he that's no good to the kids in the future, because Coach Heupel, he may come and recruit the kids that he wants from his team in the future. And that's not good if he says that the in-state biggest school can't recruit his kids. That's not good for the kids. That's not good for Tennessee. We want to keep that pipeline open. I mean, the new coaches want to be able to lock the state down. And that's something that I don't like what the coach said. I mean, he's not being a head coach to his kids. That's a bad look on him. I know he is trying, and I know what he was doing. He was trying to let his kids know that I have your back. and I understand.
Yep, I do too. And one last thing, Billy, I was in the stands in '98 when you recovered that fumble. I was more than ecstatic with my wife when we saw you pick it up and scoop it up. And if you are on the oatmeal cream pie diet, get my information after the call. I work for Little Debbie in Chattanooga, and I'll get you a fresh case of Little Debbie's. Whichever one you like.
I'm the one that eats the Little Debbie's. Oatmeal cream pies.
Hey, I would love that.
Yeah, send him a case of oatmeal cream pies, and I'll eat them. So
all right.
So you work down there for McKee Foods? That's awesome. What's your favorite
McKee Foods?
What's your favorite Little Debbie?
Really, the Nutty Bar. I love the peanut Nutty Bar.
What's I've always wanted to know this. Since if you got a second, do you might have this information. What's the best selling Little Debbie cake there is?
Well, I can tell you that oatmeal cream pie sells really, really good. So you probably have figured out which is the number one seller is the oatmeal cream pie.
And the big ones, the one with the really thick ones, not the little ones, the big one. What do they call them? The big ones, or they're just called big, aren't they? The really big ones. Those are awesome.
Yeah, there's a double stack family pack.
Double stack, that's it.
That you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I kind of like the raisin. What do they call that? The raisin cream pie? I like that one.
Raisin cream pie. And then there's some cakes, too, that when Hostess had their downturn, McKee Foods purchased the Drake brand. And there's some Yodels and Devil Dogs that are pretty good, but they only ship them up north. But seriously, guys, if you want a case sent to you, I can make that happen. So
definitely,
I just need an address, and last I'll say is go Vols.
All right, email Bobby C or Billy Ratliff. It don't matter, either one. Bobby C or Billy Ratliff at volunteerroadshow.com, and we'll get you the contact information. We'll give Little Debbie's a lot of business and advertising. You send us some, because I'll be eating them on the show. That's what I'm going to do.
We'll get you some fresh ones. I'll send you an email. Go Vols.
Thank you. Go Vols. What do you think about that one, Billy?
Hey,
that's probably our best call ever.
Yeah, because all that just did for me was
I'm not eating any. I'm gonna hold out. I'm gonna hold out. I gotta get I've lost some weight. And I gotta ask you a question. That text you sent me with a picture of you on the scale, was that real?
That's real.
Real for real, or you playing around?
Real deal, Holyfield. About to knock you out.
I got to see it for myself, though. There's no way you could have lost that much weight in a week.
I don't know, man. I think I only lost 2 pounds.
No, it wasn't. You lost like 12 pounds.
2.
Jeez. Well, it's just gonna make it that much easier for me to block you one-on-one.
Yeah, that just makes me quicker.
Yeah. Well, if we're not going to get any more calls, somebody over here on Facebook says Nutty Bar is his favorite too. He also said he had season tickets since 1980.
Wow.
Robin Corby, she likes the ones I like, the raisin cream pies. Those are good. Have you ever had those, Billy?
No, I'm not a big raisin man.
They're good. You need to give them a chance. They're really soft. I don't know if it's like a pound cake cookie, but it's like a soft cookie with raisins on top, filled with that cream.
Yeah, that's why you got to be on the beach body, feeling all that cream.
What did she say? I hear my name being called. What does Crystal want? What's she saying?
Just say it.
Just say it.
Hey, so are you like taking care of yourself and taking those Beachbody vitamins? And
Yep. I was just telling Billy, can you hear me?
I'm hearing him through the headset.
All right. That strawberry thing that was in the bag that I kept on top of the refrigerator, the bag, that strawberry, and just put it in with the milk. It actually, I was surprised how much it suppressed my appetite. I'm not even hungry. I don't know what's in it. I need to check out what's in it. But something's in it where I don't even want to eat. And that's my problem is I eat. I can't keep from eating. Y'all know I live there.
You don't really eat when you're here, though.
I know, but when I eat though.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And Billy always trying to make all this good food so I gain weight so he can win. I see he's always got a game going. Always got a side angle or something. He's always cheating. But anyway. Scott Shrum says Billy was one of his favorite D linemen. Yep, he was pretty. You weren't too shabby, Billy. I gotta admit, you weren't too shabby. Star Crunches are good according to Space Mountain. Slim Mosley said Star Crunch was his favorite.
Star Crunch was good.
Yep. Here's another one over here on YouTube. Space Mountain oatmeal cream pies. Thank you, Space Mountain. He said, love the show, Catfish. Here's a question. Football question. Now we're going to get back to football. If somebody's going to call in, we've got the Blue Water Climate Control hotline up at 865-424-1342. Henry Riddle wants to know, who do y'all think will make our starting QB next season? Who do we have left besides Harrison Bailey? Everybody's transferred, hasn't they?
I think I forgot who else left. I personally don't know who would be the starter because this new coach he's going to have an open field. You got to win the job. So I don't think Harrison Bailey did enough last year to say that it's his job. And
we haven't been good enough, Billy, the last several years to be able to have – we haven't had any dogs on the team where we can say you're guaranteed a starting spot. I think everybody should be in the same boat come spring practice.
Yes.
And there's no starters, none, zero.
I am with you because they need that. They need the evaluation. I just hope and pray they do have the chance to be able to do spring ball because this coaching staff need to evaluate these kids.
Yeah. I think Harrison Bailey's a good quarterback, but everybody was thinking he was the next thing, the next Jesus Christ, basically. And last year he didn't impress me when he came in. And of course, I know he hadn't had the reps, but whatever Josh Heupel says, that's what we're going to have to go with. So we might as well not even complain about it.
Well, I mean, the good thing about it, though, I actually personally think we have somebody here to develop.
Yes. Yes.
Give them a chance to make plays. Give them times to make checks, and just make the kid, comfortable. And that's what they haven't been in a long time.
Well, now that Chaney's out of town, maybe that Golden Corral might stay in business after all. Because I heard he was putting a hurting on them.
Why you be on him like that?
Hey, because I got to see him in person in the coaches meeting. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was. He was ginormous. He came up to us when T took us in the offensive meeting room, and I was like, oh my gosh. I knew everybody was joking about how big he was, but he's every bit of 350, Billy.
Yeah.
Maybe more than that.
Yeah, he's a big man.
I'm not going to joke about somebody's weight because I'm pretty large myself, but I'm working on it.
That's why I ain't talking about him because I'm a big man.
Yep. We shouldn't talk about people like that.
I'm not fat.
Right.
P-H-A-T.
Yep. Of course, them coaches, they have a hard life. I bet it's like truck driving, always sitting, it's got to be hard on your health.
It is not, because they eat the same thing the players eat.
Well, they don't have the activity that the players do they?
They can if they want to. They got it. They got the same gym the players got.
Well, okay.
Well, here, I'll give you an example. What did Coach Cardwell look like when you saw him?
Skinny.
Looked like like he can go out there and do a marathon, didn't he?
Yep, he's skinny. He sat up in his chair when we were sitting in his office. He was sitting up straight. I noticed he had flat abs, and I didn't, and I was slunched out, sitting back like this with my gut out. I remember that part about it. But he was, he was in good shape. Was he in that good a shape when he was coaching defensive ends?
Yes, exactly the same.
Well, let's see. Chip says Chaney was 3 and out with a punt. Robin Corby says we need to evaluate the new coaching staff as well. Sounds like to me. Yes, we do. YouTube. Henry Riddle thinks that Heupel at least attracts some good quarterbacks. So he also says I'm really worried about our defense and our coaching ability. Oh, that reminds me. Can we? Who all was on the show? Was it Leonard Little, Fred White, Jeff Coleman, and you? I believe. Remember that show when we were talking about right after they fired Jeremy Pruitt? Do you remember that show I'm talking about, Billy? Yes. And Leonard Little said he don't care who it is, and he don't care if he's from Alaska. And you said you needed an offensive coach because these days offense is what gets it done. So does that mean, I'm putting you on the spot here, does that mean that the cliche saying that offense wins games and defense wins championships is no longer in effect, and it's the opposite now? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying now.
Really? You admitted that easy?
It is. I mean, you got to think about it. Just go look at the rules. The rules were changed. All rules that were changed were against the defense. You didn't see now one offensive rule change, like grabbing the face mask when they stiff on you. Why is that still legal if they're trying to stop from getting the helmet, concussions and stuff like that?
Yeah. We got a caller, Billy.
Who we got?
What you got for Billy Ratliff and Catfish?
What's going on, guys?
How you doing?
Doing good. I'm enjoying your show. I was going to get back to the T. Martin thing. I'm agreeing with both of you. I think he should have got a shot. And I think it would have been bad for him with the situation. I think I see both sides of your story, and I appreciate everything you put in for the University of Tennessee, guys. I enjoy it very much.
Well, we appreciate it. It's people like you we wouldn't even ballot. So to do other shows, but we appreciate you watching.
Okay, I guess one question for the both of you. Do you all think, with everything going on now with our program, that we should have coaches like Billy Ratliff and Leonard Little and so on and so forth back in there to get the orange blood back in our program, or is that a bad thing?
Billy, you answer that, and unless you want me to go first.
I'll be honest with you. I wish they had more former guys that put in the work. They went off the coach and build their resume to become coaches, because I think they're more passionate when it comes to building that university where they came from. They're going to work even harder for that place because that's where they came from. I don't care where you go. That's how you work harder for home.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I think that's what this program actually needs more than anything right now.
I agree. Getting to know Billy for the last 2 or 3 years, I get to talk to a lot of players, not on camera too, just talk to them. And hearing the stories of their practices and how their coaches dealt with them and how their coaches wrote them, you can't coach like the way Billy was coached anymore. That coaching doesn't work. Do you think I'm off on that, Billy? I was meant to tell you that I don't think you can have the coaching staffs you guys had back in the 90s. I don't think it would work today in these I don't want to say sissified because they could kick my butt, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? They just can't take it. They didn't have the dogs in them. They were superstars before they got here. But hearing some of the stories that Fred's told me and Jeff Coleman's told me on the phone, I'm like, man, I don't know that you could recruit anybody being that kind of coach. Am I crazy?
Well, you're not crazy because here, I'll tell you where that kind of coaching is happening today. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That same coaching is happening today with nothing but 5- and 4-star players. So it can be done. The problem is Tennessee has been so watered down, have been down where they had to drop and lower their standards to get kids to come in here and not keep the standards where they should be and get the kids that come here that wants to play and stop worrying about how many stars they got or how many offers they got. Because you can't do
Billy,
anything with that offer is one school and one day.
Billy, could you agree with me for one word, which along your lines you talked about? It's called passion for your school.
I'm 100% with you. Without the passion for Tennessee and understanding it, you'll never be able to understand what it truly means to be a VFL.
We've not had that, in my opinion, in close to 10 years.
It's been a long time.
Guys, I appreciate your show. I appreciate you letting me come on and getting my word in, and I'll listen to you.
Thank you for calling. Man, that was a good call, Billy. That was a really good call. He brought up a good point. That's what our fans want to see. We don't care how many stars we got. Although we had 24 stars on that offensive line this year. And how come they didn't do anything? That's beside the point. That's a subject for another day. But fans like to see players that, when they touch the I will give my all for Tennessee sign that we sell on our website above the door when you go out the locker room. Stuff like that fans love. And I think you play harder if you're playing for your people. I know you fight harder when you're fighting for your boys rather than just fighting in a ring for a paycheck.
Exactly. Here, I'll give you another example. You know how hard you would fight somebody if they slap your mom?
Mm-hmm.
You know how hard you would fight someone if they slap your girlfriend?
Yep.
That's the kind of fight that Tennessee's been missing. Who has the person next to you back?
Yeah. And see, that's something y'all had each other's back.
Oh man, we didn't go anywhere unless we were 20 deep. It had to be a minimum of 20 before we went anywhere.
Y'all even fought the offense as a defensive unit and said, these are our boys on your own team.
Exactly.
Somebody asked about Big Cat being the pressure off the edge is what we're needing. Oh, absolutely.
Well, here, I'll say this here. I will say that our defensive ends did a good job this year. The problem with our defensive line was more of our defensive tackles. Explain
that. You've explained it to me when we watched it together in the living room, but explain what you mean by our defensive tackles not being worth the hoot.
Well, if your defensive ends are up the field and your D linemen are in your linebacker's chest, it's a disaster to happen as far as the run or the pass. If your defensive tackles are not pressing the pocket, where I call it the line of scrimmage, if they're not past the line of scrimmage or even a half a yard, we're in trouble. You know, watch any defensive line. Matter of fact, watch this weekend when Tampa Bay's defensive line give KC's offensive line hell because of how they get up the field with the defensive ends they have and the two DTs pushing the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You push the pocket, you make the quarterback goes to the defensive end. It makes it harder to block. And until we get some defensive tackles to be able to do that, it's going to be tough to play in the SEC, period.
Yeah. Well, I've heard, a lot of football that I'd never really got to hear, behind the scenes stuff when I hear you and Fred and Sean Ellis and all you guys talk about it, when I've heard y'all talk about football and how Fred had brought up that we didn't have any linebackers with 100 tackles because it was all about the DTs. And you shouldn't. If your safeties and linebackers are getting a bunch of tackles, then your defensive line ain't, I can't say what Fred White said, but you know what I mean. They ain't nothing.
Well, here, let me tell you the reasoning behind that. I didn't come to Tennessee to be a blocking dummy. I came to Tennessee to make plays. And I'm not about to be sitting here getting beat up while my boys having fun and I'm not having fun. So if me and my D linemen are not having fun, our LBs ain't going to have fun. So if we all having fun as a team, it's hard to do anything against us.
Is that why Eric Westmoreland told us when we were together that you was stingy, you was greedy about getting the TFLs and you couldn't let him have a tackle or two? Now, he had a bunch of tackles.
Hey, we wanted to shine too, man. Hey, the big boys want to look good every now and then.
Oh, man. Let's see what we got going over here. Somebody says bring back Little, Westmoreland, Wilson, and Ratliff and coach that defense. Well, we probably have a bunch of players quit. If that happened. Probably just quit. I just want to see fights on the practice field. That's all I'm going to ask. If I ever get a chance, I know we've had Coach Fulmer on the show, but if I ever had a chance to get Heupel on the show, the first thing I'm going to ask him, are there any fights on the practice field? If he says no, I'm going to say, well, you ain't doing your job. And we need some fights on the practice field like what y'all used to have when you played, because I've heard every player that's been on this show talked about all the fights y'all would have, but then y'all would go be best friends at Gibbs Hall and play video games. But y'all sure enough was fighting out there.
Man, it was a daily battle on the practice field. Our practice, man, I mean, I'll tell you like this here. Our practice was so hard while games was so easy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go even farther. I didn't have a hard game my whole career until I played Arkansas '98.
That's hard to believe, and that's probably your biggest game. But everybody just thinks about them last two plays. You did get wore out, though. Was it this is what I wanted to ask you about the Arkansas game. Do you think it was their scheme they had on offense where they came in and going to neutralize your defensive line, or was it all Brandon Burlsworth? I mean, what was it about? Why were they able to get out in front of us? Because we didn't execute our game plan?
Oh, it's called three-step drop back. 1, 2, 3, get rid of the ball. Don't give us a chance to get to the quarterback. That's how Coach Spurrier was so good with his offensive line and stuff. He will do a lot of three-step drops and throw the ball. If you can do that with any with defensive lines that do give pressure like that, it makes it hard on them.
Yeah. I don't know if you can show the people that painting behind you, Billy, if you can tilt your camera, but we're going to be giving that away on a drawing. I'm going to put it full screen on you. It's 6 foot wide and 32 inches tall. Several $100 canvas. It's a canvas. Here's some ways that you can win that. Like and follow Volunteer Roadshow's Facebook page, the Roadshow Locker Room Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter at Vols Roadshow. Comment on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Share a post, and as many of them as you can. Follow our 2 YouTube channels, Roadshow Locker Room, which is our live streaming channel. We just started it. Subscribe to it, and subscribe to our main Volunteer Roadshow channel. It's got several thousand subscribers over there. Sometime before the season, we're going to draw one of those out. So if you do all of those, you increase your chances. And also join volunteerroadshow.com. Go join, get a free profile. We're going to soon be turning on all the functions, but right now it's just basically just having a profile with your picture up there. That's good, Billy. You can put it back on you. But that's 6 foot wide and 32 inches tall. We're going to be giving that away. We've got some other stuff we're going to be giving away. So do all those things, and you increase your chance. Let's see. Book online for Blue Water Climate Control. When your heat isn't working, the last thing you want to do is spend time waiting on the phone. Go to bluewaterclimatecontrol.com and dispatch your own technician. It's easy and convenient. There's no dispatch or service fee with repair. Same-day booking available 7 days a week. Pick a day at a time that fits your busy schedule. Go to Blue Water Climate Control and click dispatch. You'll get a confirmation text and a text when the technician is on his way. You can't beat that with a wooden stick. We love Blue Water Climate Control. They love Tennessee athletics. So go support them. Support all local businesses, especially in and around Tennessee. We need to support them all. I don't care if they're advertising on Volunteer Roadshow or not. If you have a business, you want us to help us. If you want us to help you sell your business and sell your products and services, Billy Ratliff, Jeff Coleman, Alexis Hornbuckle, Maria Cornelius, Fred White on occasion, and myself, we'll do you a really, really good job, because we really want local businesses. That's what makes everything tick. And if you want to buy all your Tennessee gear, we've got it on our website on volunteerroadshow.com. But yeah, do all those things, and you'll have a chance to win that painting behind Billy there. And said Henry Riddle, he says, I need that painting. And Killa Mime, great Georgia fan, says, hey, Billy and Catfish, good to see y'all tonight. Good to see you, too. And we had a question before we go. Billy, back in the day, would the sanctions and troubles the Vols are facing turn you away as a recruit?
It depends, though. It depends on playing time. A lot of kids, like me personally, when I came out of high school, in my mind mentality, I'm coming in to play right away up until you get there and reality hits you. Tennessee is still a good brand, man. I mean, you got to come in and if these coaches are doing their jobs as far as selling the product, as far as saying, hey, you saw what Tennessee was like last year. You see what Tennessee is missing. Wouldn't you want to be that part to come and fix it and become elite Tennessee once again? It's an easy product to sell. It's just, can they sell it?
I was telling Billy, I was upstairs right where he's sitting right now, about a week ago, and I was editing the Cold World podcast show with Joey Kent and Fred White. There were 2 of them. They were about a week apart. And I told Billy, I says, I don't know as much about football as you do, but if you want to know what's wrong with Tennessee football today, watch both of those shows and compare it to what you see now, and then what's the difference. That's what we need, especially that Fred White video. So go watch it. It's on Volunteer Roadshow on the YouTube channel. You might be able to scroll back far enough and find it on the Facebook page, or go to Anchor or Spotify, any of your podcasts, and search for Cole World Podcast, hosted by your teammate, defensive end Jeff Coleman. That's COLE world podcast, and that tells you everything that's missing right now. Is just compared to what they described their days at Tennessee, and compare that to now. That's what's wrong with Tennessee football, because it was man on man, mano a mano. You're not going to beat me. I'm going to beat you. Everybody respected each other, but they were fights on the practice field. Just the practices and the grind and the Stuckey program. I don't know how many times I've heard Sean Ellis and Fred and you and Jeff Coleman talking about that Stuckey program. Antron Peebles told me the same thing. But after we went off the air, I got to hang out with Sean Ellis, talking to him about some stuff, and he was talking about the Stuckey program. Because I asked him, I said, Billy's told me some stories about Stuckey. Was he really that crazy? And he shook his head. He said that was something that wasn't right about him, and he would wear you out. But we don't have that anymore.
Yeah, that's where we have to start at this offseason. As I'm hoping and praying that they keep the strength and conditioning coaches staff together. They break the staff up, that is going to be a tragic situation.
And we may have some new callers, and I never thought about this, about the strength and conditioning. I never put a lot of stock in that, Billy. I've always thought, a push-up was a push-up, and most every strength and conditioning program knew about the same thing as everybody else. But explain the medical and the strength and the conditioning, why it's the most important thing, even when you have, especially if you have a coaching change, why it's so important. Because there may be people that never heard you say this before.
Here, I say it again. There's two parts of the whole staff that when a new coaching staff comes in, you shouldn't get rid of. And one is the medical staff. Medical staff, because that medical staff knows everything about these kids, their injuries and things that they need to have to be successful and get healthy fast. The second, strength and conditioning. Strength and conditioning coaches are with these kids the majority of the time of their career while they're here. They're probably the closest thing to family when it comes to the staff. They touch, they talk. They may not talk to them when they leave with it, but when they're in there, you're talking about 3 hours of just straight strength and conditioning with these coaches. You're talking to them, you're getting to know them and all these things. And it is a repetition type situation. And now, if you come in with a whole new staff that's not teaching you how to work out with real steel, because when I'm telling you guys, it's a big difference with real steel weights compared to these Bowflex machines and stuff, whatever they're doing, and some of these kinds of stuff. Because Tennessee had a bunch of cable workout machines not too long ago where the new strength coach came in, he cleared all that stuff out. Now, it looks real good. And Bobby will tell you, there's a plate up here in the studio right now.
Yep.
And when I told him to pick it up, and he looked at it, he said, "Oh, that's only 45 pounds. That's it."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got it. And when he picked this 45-pound weight up, what did it feel like?
Well, see, 45 pounds of feathers is just as heavy as 45 pounds of steel. But here's the difference. That 45 pounds was jam-packed in a little bitty old circle like that, and it felt like 150 pounds.
But yeah, it's very important though, and if you notice, most of the programs that are successful today, that strength and conditioning coach, medical staff have been together for a very long time.
Now, are you saying that because you're old school? Do you really think that steel? It sounds good and it sounds tough and it sounds like some sort of Rocky Balboa thing, but tell me why you think that steel is better than, say, Bowflex or whatever you were talking about. Cables.
Simple. Very simple. It's all about horsepower. A horse can drag that much weight. What do you think that steel can do?
Yeah. But 45 pounds on a cable is still 45 pounds.
Go look, and I'm just going to show you.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just curious. I want to hear you say it.
Go look at Alabama. Go look at Clemson. Go look at Ohio State. Go look at LSU.
You think they all got steel?
They got steel. I promise you they do.
All right.
And I guarantee you they have the Stuckey program.
Was he really that crazy?
Man, Stuckey was crazy, man. Stuckey will have you do things that it was impossible to do. I'm talking about there was times you do bench press on one day, burn out at the end of the strength of workouts, and he would be outside the door waiting on you and say, "Come here, Billy. Come over here real quick. I got something for you." And we had this rope in out here where we work out at it when we run and do all our stuff. And the rope was at the top of the ceiling. And he wants you to climb this rope with nothing but your hands. He don't want you to use your legs to scoot up or anything. He wants you to use your bare hands to pull yourself up to the top. I'm like, Coach, how am I supposed to do that, man? My arms feel like noodles right now.
So that's why Sean Ellis said, when I asked him, he said, "I don't know, give me flashbacks talking about it too much." So he really was that crazy.
Man, you walk out the weight room every day hoping Coach Stuckey's not around that corner.
Did you try to sneak out?
Ain't no sneaking out. I don't care if you thought you snuck out and you think you home free. As soon as you turn the corner to go in the locker room, there he is.
I'd be waiting in the corner somewhere like I already left and hiding out, wait a couple hours, and then see if you can get somebody to tell you. See, back then y'all didn't have cell phones to give you a clearance, all clear sign or anything. Man. Could you climb the rope? That's what I want to know. I know I couldn't. I couldn't even if I wasn't working out. You're saying that you would work out for an hour or two on the weights and he'd still want you to climb the rope?
You got to climb the rope.
That ain't right.
Extra set. Hey, I heard him tell like Jamal Lewis when you're doing squats and doing extra reps, he'll talk to him. He'd say, "Well, when I was at Oklahoma State, Barry Sanders didn't tell me he was overweight." He always used somebody else he trained that was real good at that position and make you look bad.
Man.
Something else, man. One of a kind.
Wow.
But he still got a lot of his guys that are out there, though, that are coaching now. LSU's strength and coach is a Coach Stuckey protege.
Wow.
There's a lot of them out there now.
Wow.
Like the Atlanta Falcons, they just got one too.
Who's that?
I'm a Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. He was a legend. I know with all you former players, that's every time you mention Stuckey, it's like,
Coach Stuckey, man. Coach Stuckey.
Rest in peace, Coach Stuckey.
Yes.
Henry Riddle says, "I love the Cold World podcast. Even had LL on there." Yeah, we had Leonard Little, had Sean Ellis, had Fred White, Billy. We've had Joey Kent. Did you get a chance to see the Joey Kent show that I edited and put up?
I haven't watched it yet.
You need to.
Well, here, I'm going to tell you why I don't really have to watch them because
you already know. Yeah. But, hey, he had a great story when he was in the NFL. He didn't have a great NFL career and how he got it transitioned into real life. That's what I liked about the Cold World podcast, talking about real life. Like I called the Fred White one, From Griffin to Knoxville was the name of that show. Talked about from being a kid going up to Knoxville and his dad died in his freshman year. See, I didn't know all that. I'm sitting there on the show with them, but nobody can hear or see me. I'm just being the producer, and I'm getting to hear these stories, and I'm like, wow. Just, you don't realize all the things that these players go through. And Fred almost didn't come back to Tennessee. His grandpa said, you're going to have to do one of four things. You're going to have to go back to college, get a job, go in the military, and there was something else. He said, you're going to have to pick which one you're going to do. And that was in front of the Marine Corps Recruiting Center. And Fred said, I ain't going to no Marine Corps. I guess I'm going to go back to Knoxville. But he had a great story and how he had to get into the lineup, and he was always fighting for his position. So that's what we don't have now. That's why I say if you watch those shows, you can see what's missing, and that's what we need.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this here. Majority of the guys that I play with, they have a story.
Yeah, and I can't wait to hear them.
Every last one of those guys, man.
The one I'm excited about, the two of them I'm excited about. Talked to Jeff. We've been doing some planning. It's Tyrone Hines. You know how I feel about Tyrone Hines.
Hines, big brother.
And Bill Duff. Those are the two that I can't wait to produce that show.
Yeah, those would be two good guys to have on there.
Yeah. Who was the craziest, Bill Duff or Tyrone Hines? On the field. Tyrone was no slouch.
I'm gonna go with T. Hines, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we knew both of them, though. I mean, it's just T. Hines was the Al Wilson before Al Wilson.
Yeah,
you know
that says a lot right there.
When he asked for your presence, you gave every bit of what he asked for.
And don't talk about him in the newspaper.
So T. Hines.
Yeah. Well, but nothing gets my blood pumping like seeing that stop on 4th down at the goal line in the Citrus Bowl against Ohio State against the Heisman, Eddie George and Bill Duff. Just, man. That's why he was on a lot of those TV shows, because he was fire. He was just an animal on that football field. But when we've talked to him, he's been on the show with you. He's just calm, quiet, collected, easy going. And I'm like, I'm sitting here listening to this show with you and Bill Duff on the Volunteer Roadshow. I said, this can't be the same Bill Duff. Can't be.
And wait till you get a chance to talk to Alizé, to Al Wilson.
Yeah.
Hey, he's the same way. I mean, well-spoken, on the stuff. I mean, most of these guys, I mean, they're good people, man. Just, football is just a game we played.
Yep. Well, anyway, we're going to get out of here. Chip Garrett said the Joey Kent show was awesome, and he talked about the stop by Bill Duff. Anyway, thanks for watching the Volunteer Road Show. We've got a lot of different shows on here. Billy and I are the founders of Volunteer Road Show, and we try to put as many people out there as we can. And we love talking to you guys. We really do. So I think we're going to get on out of here. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Go Vols. I tell you what, Billy, I don't care what anybody says. I think Josh Heupel's going to get it done. And I think before I die, my famous saying, we're going 15-0, I promise you that will come true. I promise you that.
I hope so.